Robert J. Torres is best known in our community as being the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of Guam. A principled, learned, fair, well-traveled, and compassionate professional, he's known as a lifelong student and defender of the law and of the American judicial process. But his talents, passions, and interests extend far beyond the bench, and he's more than just an intellectual. He also enjoys listening to hip-hop, being involved in soccer, and geeking out over the latest gadgets and gizmos. So who better to invite his honor for a leisurely lunchtime stroll around the capital of Hagåtña than our Jason Salas. They hopped into the KUAM cruiser to discuss the Chief Justice's career, his role in the history of Guam, and what motivates him to help make the island the best it can be. Let's listen in as Jason picks him up at the courthouse downtown.
Presented by
Triple J Auto Group now offers customers the ability to get pre-approved instantly. Shop for the car of your dreams anytime, anywhere. Save time and apply online at carsguam.com.
All right, so Your Honor, thanks for doing this.
Yes.
A pleasure.
Yeah, indeed it is.
Yeah.
Pleasure and a privilege.
Yeah, and good weather for a nice drive today, too.
It is. It's a beautiful day for a drive, and it's law week, so what more could you ask for?
We appreciate you actually giving us the time, because we know your agenda and your calendar is probably like booked solid. So
we had a busy appellate session this week, and you know, of course, we have all of the mock trials for the schools throughout the evening this week, the open house at the court, and tomorrow the State of the Judiciary address.
Excellent. So you're all ready for that?
I am.
You're always prepared, but it goes with the territory, right?
It does. It does.
All right, let's go.
Let's enjoy the ride.
Okay. And technically, we're rolling on this one right now. So.
Okay.
Now, of course, Your Honor, what a lot of people out there don't know is you and I actually go back a ways. Like, I remember when we could still refer to you by your first name respectfully when I was, you know, a young marketing person at IT&E and you were a legal counsel. So, you know, I would say that, you know, your reputation is very well deserved within the island community. People know you as a civil servant, as a civic leader also, as someone of great character. But I'd like to know, who is Bob? People always say, like, Chief Justice Robert J. Torres. Who is Bob?
Or Bobby, as they said.
There you
This is
go.
Cruising with Bobby. You know, first and foremost, I think I'm a devoted husband to my wife and father to my children. Family is very important to me. I have 7 grandchildren. I love them dearly. And the relationship I enjoy with my family is something I wouldn't give up for anything. And that's, I think, first and foremost of primary importance to me. I enjoy sports, all sorts of sports.
We're going to talk about that in length, I guarantee.
Yeah, and so, you know, I clearly am a sportsman, and you know, participating in sports has permitted me also to be involved in a judicial arena in the sports world, and that's as a member of the FIFA ethics committee, and so they've complemented each other very well in that regard. I enjoy classic cars. I enjoy, you know, riding my Harley. I've got 2 different Harleys. I've got a 1994 Road King, one of the first, actually the first year that Harley came out with the Road King model. You know, that bike is 21 years old now, and it was my first Harley, and I still have it. And then I have a 2009 Street Glide. So I enjoy riding. You know, it's very relaxing to be on the bike and drive. I live down south. I live in Santa Rita, and so, you know, the ride from Santa Rita to the court is a nice ride with not many stops and not a lot of traffic. So it's an enjoyable experience for me.
Now, the thing that I know about you is, you know, a lot of people in the community know that you're very into technology, and a lot of people are. They just say, well, you know, like, I like the iPhone, you know, like, I've got a tablet, I shop on Amazon a lot. But you are truly geek to the core, and I mean that with all respect. You know, as a fellow geek and everything, is like, technology is something that you truly understand and you truly believe in and everything. So what gave you an interest way back when about the technology and how it could be applied to your operations?
Well, you know, of course, being legal counsel for IT&E during the development stage, I think, contributed to that. But even when I was a a young attorney in Boston, I remember getting my first laptop, the first laptop that Compaq came up with. It was about a 20-pound laptop,
Yep.
and you know, but it was portable, and I could carry it like a suitcase. And so I kind of got interested in it back then, and you know, it's always piqued my interest to you know, continue to sort of stay at the forefront of technology. And when I first came to the court, I really, coming from the private sector, having been in private practice for nearly 17 years, I saw that there was a technological void with the court. At least at the judiciary, we weren't taking advantage of the technological advancements that could improve our efficiency and effectiveness. And so, you know, starting with simple things, you know, networking, in-house email, coordinating of all the calendars. I chuckle because when I first came in and I watched what was happening with Microsoft Outlook and how chamber administrators, to enter a calendar item on a judicial officer, would actually physically go to their desk and create the calendar item there, not realizing that they could do it at their own and send it to everyone else. So we did simple things at the beginning, and then of course I saw the benefits of video conferencing and what it would do with our relationship with the Department of Corrections, the Department of Youth Affairs, and how it would minimize some of the transport. So we modified the rules to permit initial appearances to be done by video conferencing, and that made a significant difference in terms of transport of prisoners. Now we've actually expanded our rules to allow video conferencing in more proceedings, and all of our courtrooms will be you know, capable of doing video conferencing. And then one of the things, and you know, I really have to thank my relationship, you know, with the former governor, Governor Camacho, of course, who is my brother-in-law, and former Assistant Secretary Tony Babalta. They were instrumental in ensuring that we received funding to help us update our case management system with the judiciary. We were on an old green screen AS400 for, you know, a number of years, and by getting them money,
the keyboards that could make you go deaf as you were typing.
Exactly.
I remember those.
Exactly. And so being able to update our system into a Windows-based, web-based case management system, and you know, now looking at improving upon our e-filing and even our public access, it's really contributed a lot to our ability to generate reports, be more effective managers, look at you know, essentially the entire case file is now available to all of our employees that are permitted access without having to go look for the file. And so that's made a tremendous difference. And you know, we still have a lot of other technological advancements that we want to procure, and some of which are in the current stage. You didn't get to see it, but if you walk in our courthouse now, all of our calendars are basically digital. We got rid of the paper, and all of our public notices are all digital. We got rid of paper. So besides the environmentally conscious approach of, you know, saving trees, we've actually made it a lot easier to be able to modify the calendars, and it's visually it's more appealing.
Keep your seatbelts fastened, because when Cruising with KUAM returns, His Honor dives into sports. We'll get Bob Torres' take on boxing when we come back.
Presented by
Triple J Auto Group now offers customers the ability to get pre-approved instantly. Shop for the car of your dreams anytime, anywhere. Save time and apply online at carsguam.com.
Well, as long as I've known you, I know you've always been someone who's incredibly detail-oriented and in very positive ways. So what advice would you give to you know, other executives or other visionaries or other managers, not just in the government of Guam, but also like in the private sector or in federal, to be able to have that dichotomy, to be able to think broad but understand narrow?
Well, of course, a lot of it is hard work, and to educate yourself as much as possible about, you know, what exists out there and how that can help you improve upon your performance. I spend a lot of time reading, you know, wake up very early, go to sleep very late. Spend a lot of time online, reading a lot of literature, technological articles, legal articles, general news. You pick up a lot on current events and different things that are occurring, and so researching and preparing, there is no substitute for that. It's very important to be able to do that. So and then of course it's very important for executives to listen to the needs of their staff, what it is that they need to improve upon their performance, what tools they think can acquire, because oftentimes your staff knows what they need and what they want. You may not be able to afford it, but at least it gives you a perspective and a manner in which you can go about trying to assist them with the performance of their duties.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so now let's go ahead and talk about sports. And this is something I've really been waiting a very, very long time, not just for this segment, but I've been wanting to talk deep about sports with you, because all the times I interview you, we typically end with some athletic anecdote or something like that. At the time we're recording this, Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather are going to have the big super fight. Your predictions?
Of course, Floyd is undefeated, hasn't been lost a bout since the gold medal match in 1996 in Atlanta. But, Manny, I think, is determined. And obviously, we're all, I think, or a majority of people on Guam will support Manny because of the proximity to the Philippines. We've met Manny when he came here on a number of occasions. I actually saw him fight at the UOG Fieldhouse in an exhibition match, a 3-round exhibition match, many, many years ago. I've been to 4 different Pacquiao fights. I was at the Pacquiao De La Hoya fight in Vegas. I was at the Pacquiao Cotto fight in Vegas, and the Pacquiao Ricky Hatton fight in Vegas, and then the Pacquiao Rios fight in Macau. So, having followed Manny and Manny's career, even when I was living in Boston, the first time he was put in as a substitute fighter, and of course, my grandmother was originally from the Philippines. I have to go with Pacquiao with my heart, and I'm hoping my head also supports that. But Floyd is a tough fighter, and I'm looking forward to an exciting match. It reminds me of the first sort of Fraser Ali match, the hype that got built up into that. Some of the people in our listening audience or viewing audience might not remember that.
Boxing was popular at one time.
It was the really the most popular combative sport. Of course, now MMA and UFC have sort of I think led to a decrease in the popularity. Plus some of the controversy with boxing and the various problems that have occurred. You can't have 8 different world champions, which has sort of happened in boxing, and still expect to have people believe what's going. But I think this is good for boxing. It's good for the sport, and I'm hoping Pacquiao takes care of business in a very close fight, and then we'll see a rematch again later in the year.
We should hope. Well, and based on when this airs and the outcome of the actual fight, you're either right now looking like an absolute genius with incredible foresight, or somebody who made a bad call. Yeah. So well,
that's we make the call based on the facts before us, much the same way we do with judicial decision making.
Exactly.
Half the people are going to be upset with our decision, and half the people will be thrilled. And making tough decisions is part of our job, and we don't hesitate to call them. This is a prediction, not a decision, but same effect.
A little bit easier to speculate in this arena, I would say. So let's talk about something that's very dear to your heart and has local relevance. The evolution of soccer on island and your involvement with it. For people that don't know exactly, what scope of responsibility do you have with that sport, and and how strong are your ties to the local soccer community?
Soccer, of course, has always been very special to me. Growing up, I was one of the few kids at the beginning who played a lot of soccer. At that time, we had a lot of indoor soccer sponsored by most of the youth centers. If years ago, all the different villages sort of had a youth center program, and one of the sports besides hockey, street hockey, which I played as well, was indoor soccer. So I spent a lot of time playing that, And then the soccer program in the interscholastics was first started when I was in junior high school. So I played that as well as in high school. And then when I was at Notre Dame, it was not a varsity sport, it was just a club sport. So I played, you know, some of that then. And then right when I was graduating from Notre Dame is when it became a varsity sport. And of course, since then, Notre Dame has managed to win the soccer championship for both the men and women in the NCAA Division I. When I came back home after working in Boston for, you know, a number of years, I took up soccer again, not only playing it, but also coaching it. And I've coached hundreds, if not thousands of kids over the years. Got a license from the Asian Football Confederation, both a B and a C license. Had thought about maybe even going forward to look at a professional license. But then, you know, work kind of got a little busy, and then of course getting put on the bench kind of put a wrinkle in those plans. But I really enjoy having a positive impact on the children of our island. And being an attorney, being a judicial officer, managed to get me involved with the Asian Football Confederation's legal committee, and then ultimately recommended to FIFA to sit as the member of the first ethics committee that was formed in FIFA in 2006. And so I still remain a member of the FIFA ethics committee. I've been a member now coming up on 9 years. Most recently, they modified the structure of the ethics committee, and I got elected. They wanted the Congress to elect the judicial officers of the ethics committee, and I was elected to a 4-year term at the Congress in Mauritius a year and a half ago. But as far as local soccer, I mean, I still play. I've been off for a few months, nursing an injury, but I expect I'll be back on the pitch soon. And, I'm still involved with trying to assist in any way I can with the development of soccer on Guam. Clearly, we've seen the genesis go for where I used to go out and mow the fields and line the fields and remove rocks before the game started up at the old Harmon complex, to now we've got a beautiful, well-maintained facility.
The good old days.
Yeah. And the facility there, we would not be able to do that without, of course, the late Senator Ben Pangilinan, who was a big supporter of soccer, and permitted us to take advantage of some tax credits, and then the contributions from FIFA. We've been a recipient of 2, if not 3 gold projects from FIFA, which has allowed us to make the improvements that we've made at the facility. And Richard Lai, of course, is the president of the Guam Football Association, and he's a member of the AFC Executive Committee, has really put in his whole effort towards advancing soccer and improving our facilities, and the whole group should be applauded for the efforts that they've done.
No session with the Chief Justice would be complete without getting his vision for the business of practicing the law on Guam. So sit tight, that's coming up next.
Presented by
Triple J Auto Group now offers customers the ability to get pre-approved instantly. Shop for the car of your dreams anytime, anywhere. Save time and apply online at carsguam.com.
Now, clearly you're a man of many skills and many eclectic tastes. What is on your iPod like right now? What can we typically find in Chief Justice Robert J. Torres, Esquire, like all of your various credentials and everything like that? If someone were to actually take a look at your iPod and your playlist, what would they find?
Well, the iPod is no more, Jason.
Or iPhone, or
everything
iPod,
is
yeah,
everything is. I don't carry an iPod, but everything is really on the laptop. Actually, I listen more to Pandora or Milk, which is the Samsung's version of Pandora, or I also listen to the internet radio from Microsoft, and it varies. It just depends on my mood. I can go from from jazz to hip hop to pop music. It just depends on the time of the day and what I'm doing and the concentration level. Sometimes that's that's going on. Oftentimes I'll have, I mean, and obviously, you know, while I'm going, I've got sports going on, even on the mobile device. Notre Dame, whether it's Notre Dame football, Notre Dame basketball, men and women, you know, if they're playing, I've got to find a way to know what's going on with the game. I may not be paying attention to it, you know, consciously, but it's there in the background, checking the score. And then, of course, the Red Sox. So sports is always going to be there. And the music taste, just, it's so diversified. I mean, you know, people are amazed that I know a lot of the contemporary artists that a lot of young children enjoy. But you know, that's just being immersed in the community, and you know, working and playing. You know, I play a lot of basketball. I coach a lot of basketball with Team Justice, and you know, my guys, you know, that are listening to music, I hear the things that they're listening to all the time.
And most people,
but I always ask for the G-rated version. I don't.
Yeah, of course.
I don't really appreciate the uncensored version. I want the more, you know, public version of the playlist.
And most people that see you typically around the island in a full suit, or in, you know, your chamber wear, like in you know, your full gown when you're serving your duties on the Supreme Court. But you're actually in really, really good shape.
You know, I'm gonna get in better shape. You know, I've had a little bit of an issue with you know, with an injury. It's really improving. I'm working a lot now towards improving upon my physical fitness. One of the reasons that I'm motivated to do that is, of course, recently the legislature passed the post requirements, the peace officer standards for training. And so nearly 1/3 of our workforce at the judiciary are law enforcement officers, our probation and marshals. And so they've got to work towards becoming post compliant by the end of 2016. And so we've wanted to work with them. We've actually are setting out schedules for them, starting the training now, so we can ensure that all of them meet the requirements that have been advanced by the legislature. And I intend to also join them in trying to become post compliant, which means you know, being able to run the 1.5 miles, doing the sit-ups and the push-ups within a minute that are required for someone in my young tender age group, and then also you know, being able to have a waistline of 39 and below. So I'm optimistic that I'm going to reach those requirements well in advance of December 2016. So and also for good health. I mean, you know, we've had a very robust Active for Life program at the judiciary, and it's motivated our employees to think about diet, to think about their exercise. We've worked with our health insurance providers to be able to do that, because they recognize a healthier population means less claims, and they've been very supportive of that. And so and it's been a lot of fun. Plus, it's meant a healthier workforce.
Well, let's talk about the practice of law on Guam. You know, you've devoted your life to the judicial process. How has that profession changed over the years, and where are we now, and where do we need to go? You know,
the judiciary of Guam, you know, the caseload numbers, with the creation of a number of therapeutic, very resource and time-intensive courts. But we think the therapeutic courts are the way in which we have to go. And so we've got an adult and juvenile drug court, we've got a mental health court. Those are all resource and time-intensive courts, but we think it has a positive impact on the people that appear before them, with a total support network to ensure that recidivism is reduced. We now have the Veterans Treatment Court, which is starting. And so all those courts, you know, demand a lot of time and attention from our judges. We've seen the court expand, of course, with NCS, the opening of our Northern Court satellite. And, you know, in looking at that, you know, we've had, of course, the mayors of Jigo and Dedido espouse the virtues of the court and what it's meant for their citizens. And, you know, the majority of our population resides in those two villages. We've asked, or we are going to look at trying to get another magistrate judge seated on the court, and maybe an expansion of the magistrate judge duties to be able to take some of the workload off the judges who are in the specialty courts, and to ensure that we don't have a lag in the time standards that we've adopted. We have case age and time standards for motions that we want our judges to comply with. People want justice to, not only be efficient and fair, but also to be done in a speedy manner, particularly in the business community. And one of the things that we are seeing is with the increased number of felony trials that are occurring, and we've had nearly double the amount of jurors called in for duty in the last couple of years, or more than double, that we want to be able to still give precedence to the civil cases that come before our court. So the Judicial Council recently authorized a committee to examine the creation of a business court, so that while under the law, criminal cases, especially for those who have asserted their rights to speedy trial, take precedence over civil courts, we can't ignore the business community and the importance of them, particularly with the military buildup coming. So we want to examine that and look at the need for that, and so we hope that study will be done in the next few months. So at least as far as judicial officers are concerned, I think we're seeing a need for trying to at least get another magistrate, and then examining whether the creation of the business court with the impending economic development and the increased number of felony trials to provide continued access to justice for our civil litigants is an important and viable alternative.
We'll wrap up our talk with Chief Justice Robert Torres when Cruising with KUAM heads into its final turn, right after this.
Presented by
Triple J Auto Group now offers customers the ability to get pre-approved instantly. Shop for the car of your dreams anytime, anywhere. Save time and apply online at carsguam.com.
Now, it's really apropos as we swing around. I'm going to drop you back at the courthouse as we're wrapping up our conversation, but this is one of the most productive times of the year for you, as I've known you over the years, because it is like there was Law Day and now it's Law Week, and then it became multiple Law Weeks. But like you wear the smile on your face because this is also a very happy time for you, because you get to celebrate with your colleagues and also make sure that the practice of law in Guam is continued with future generations. So what does it mean to you?
Jason, the most rewarding event, we have the Law Fair, we have the Justicia Award, who we recognize Senator Pilar Lujan this year for her contributions to the judiciary. We have, of course, the State of the Judiciary, the Res Judicata, but really, for me, the most rewarding aspect of Law Week and now Law Weeks is the children doing the mock fairy tales in the courtroom. We started with 40 kids from 2 schools the first year we did this 8 years ago. Now we're up to more than 400 children, 13 different schools, 15 different mock trials that they're involved with. And to see the hundreds of kids come to the courthouse, courtrooms packed, watching them participate and helping to understand the judicial process just warms my heart.
And the theme is always really interesting. So what is the case? There's cases this year, as I understand it.
Well, there, of course, some of the ones that have come from previous year, but 2 of the new cases this year was the trial of Luke Skywalker for blowing up the Death Star for murder, and then also Woody from Toy Story for kidnapping, supposedly keeping Buzz Lightyear from entering Andy's room. So, and in fact, it was interesting because Woody was found guilty by the jury, and it stunned the audience. You could almost hear the gasp in the courtroom from the audience when they found Woody guilty, but Luke was acquitted.
Interesting outcome. Well,
yeah.
Well, Your Honor, it has been an absolute pleasure.
Jason,
I'm also glad, and I'm very, very, I feel safe having you in our KUAM vehicle right now as we drop you off back at the courthouse, because technically I am double parked right now. So what better person to have on my side to hopefully argue my case than...
We've warned them that you would be dropping me off in front, Jason, no problem.
Well, we do appreciate it.
But you won't be able to keep it here long.
Yeah, exactly. So with that, we say thank you very much. We do appreciate the time.
Thanks, Jason.
Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Cruising with KUAM. Once again, the Honorable Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of Guam, Robert J. Torres. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you next time. The question is, who's next?